Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So with all of the chaos and daily happenings of Malconst of Champions on top of obviously excitement for July 4th, we have kind of skipped past the fact that new relics, well, they are coming to the game and some of them are very interesting and there are more added since the launch, and I have kind of not covered them properly. So, whether we or I like it or not, relics are here. They are becoming a bigger part of the game, especially with obviously Kabam pushing them in 8.3 and then basically being absolutely mandatory for that content. We see more side event or monthly event quest paths requiring relics, as well as basically they are helping out quite significantly in battlegrounds by allowing you to get that extra combo. And with that, we see these nodes that allow you with the relic basically starting fully powered up, which obviously increases the impact they are having. The point is, yeah, whether we like it or not, relics are here to stay. BAM have added 3 new relics. Well, they will add 3 new relics, I believe, on 14th or 16th of July. And there's quite a lot of them, and quite frankly, there isn't that much content about them. So, in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the 3 new relics that are going to be coming mid-July, as well as I will be talking about the type of guides that I will be making about relics that will basically occur throughout the month of July, where I will be trying my best to create a guide for each of the current existing relics, few champion recommendations and stuff like that, and by end of it present to you guys with a relic spreadsheet in a sense, uh, that will highlight the champions that you likely want to use these on, maybe a vague ranking of them, which ones are overall more desirable, which ones are less desirable. We'll see how that goes, but I definitely do want to make kind of like a guide series of relics, because there really isn't one on YouTube. And yeah, they are becoming more important. So I do think that more and more people will benefit from them and will be looking for these things. So throughout the month of July, I'll be trying to put out like a guide every couple of days or daily for a relic specifically. If I will have those relics ranked up myself to a point where we can see a meaningful impact, I will obviously include some gameplay showcases as well. But let's start with the new relics that are bound to get added. And this is the one that I am quite excited for. To be honest, they all look quite good. I'm not gonna lie. All of the 3 new ones do look quite interesting. We're gonna start with the self-bleed relic for Mr. Sinister. So it's for mutant champions. And when the striker exits, inflict a bleed on this champion, dealing 0 direct damage over 4 seconds. Now, this first striker effect is quite awesome already, and I love it. I love it for, well, 2 specific reasons. Number 1, it places a 0 damage debuff on yourself, which enables willpower heal. And that's awesome. Free healing, basically. 4 seconds, not much, but it's still something. You get a 4-second debuff on yourself. Wish it was longer. Wish it was like 30 seconds or 20 seconds, something like that. That would be really awesome. But the second thing, obviously, in Mutant class, there are a lot of champions that do interact with bleed specifically. For instance, Toad can activate his regen and therefore spam more poisons. We're going to have Omega Red as an obvious example where you can enter the death field, increase your damage and a max amount of spores. We're going to have Colossus gaining armor ups. We can have this on Mr. Sinister himself, so he can throw that bleed on opponent and be dealing damage. So there's quite a lot of interesting interactions, which I think are fun and it's quite cool. And a lot of this will stem from the basis of double-edge mastery that we have been using in the game already. So innate, so signature ability. Striker debuff has an independent 50% chance to trigger again, so this is even better. So if you re-trigger it, you gain more healing, more ability triggers. Also, Colossus, Namor, Toad, and Storm. Additionally, the Striker debuff has an independent 100% chance to trigger again. So it will be interesting to see, does that mean it has basically a guaranteed chance plus then another? Or it just basically means guaranteed effect twice? Because, yeah, that's cool. Again, longer bleed. Awesome. 8 seconds of this bleed. Yes, please. Right. Let's move on to the first one. When bled or immune to a bleed, gain a non-stacking precision passive. So this will obviously interact not only with Striker, but also with a bunch of nodes, giving you massive, well, fairly sizable precision at the higher ranks, which would tremendously help champions like Colossus and stuff like that, for instance. So having a 20% precision is no joke. And if you use it for Colossus, Namor, Toad, or Storm, then you get increased 20% potency. So yeah, for Storm, for instance, this would be absolutely massive. Same as for Colossus and quite big for Toad. So I do like precision, especially 20% potency is not all that bad. Ability 2, Blunt Scalpel. When bled or immune to bleed, gain a non-stacking 20% cruelty. Also not too bad. So it does look quite interesting. And then the last attribute ones, minus 15% opponent champion bleed potency. Maybe. I don't know what that non-attack is while bleeding, and plus 10% prowess potency, also not too bad. So I do think this is one going to be quite cool, quite useful, and especially because these effects here will activate not only from your relic bleed, as I mentioned. So as we know, there are a lot of or several mutant nodes that inflict bleed on yourself as you attack opponent. We obviously have Biohazard. We have several opponents that go up against Black Widow, Clairvoyant. You will be putting those bleeds on you with a level 1, for instance, and then you're just going to be getting your precisions and or cruelties. So I definitely look forward to seeing the impact on this one, and it looks quite fun and interactive. So the next one that's getting added is Spider-Man 2099, Buff Avoidance Relic, and this one looks very good as well. So the Striker's first hit inflicts a 15% physical vulnerability. It's good. Many science champions deal, physical damage, physical bursts of damage. So physical vulnerability is solid. Signature ability, physical vulnerability effects gain 10% potency for each wither, taunt, or enervate on the opponent. Also not bad. Max stacks 5, so obviously, something for OG Spidey, for instance, with a massive amount of taunts. Wither, that would primarily be Quicksilver, I believe. Enervate. Which science champion inflicts a bunch of enervates? Is there one? I don't know. And then ability 1, Vulnerability Dispersal. When this champion is immune to a buff, or when one expires naturally or is nullified, inflict a 10% physical vulnerability passive for 12 seconds. This is quite cool because it will obviously interact with dexterity, so you will kind of naturally be triggering these in the fight without any special effects. And with Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, and Miles Morales plus 10% potency, not bad. Ability 2, Accelerated Dexterity. Gain immunity to the next precision from the Dexterity Mastery and inflict a 15% Wither passive. Max stacks 2, cooldown 8 seconds. So this will definitely be helpful for nodes like Power Snack and Buffet and a bunch of Mystic Champions. Therefore, definitely helpful in Battlegrounds as well. And this ability has no cooldown for Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Gwen, effectively making them pseudo buff immune in a sense that in a regular fight there will be no buffs that you are gaining unless there are some other nodes or champions that place those buffs on you, because precision is typically the only buff. So they would kind of function like Shuri does right now, where you can just take Shuri and use her in Power Snack meta, never triggering Power Snack because she doesn't trigger the precision from dexterity. Then mines opponent physical resistance, taunt, and enervate duration is also quite nice, and mines 10% opponent's ability power rate. That's also quite cool. I like that. So I do like these effects for sure. They do look quite interesting. And the last one is Ghost Rider, which is a degeneration boost relic. Like it is Ghost Rider, the final hit inflicts 20% degeneration vulnerability debuff for 12 seconds. All right. And this is obviously going to be for Mystic champions. So Mystics with degen is what we're going to be looking here for specifically. I have a feeling that this is kind of made for Kindred, because Kindred is coming as a Mystic in July with degen in his kit. And I think the degen is going to be quite a big part of his kit, because he will be able to heal based on the amount of degen he does, from what we know. So, but we obviously have Ebony Maw, we have Mojo, we have a few other Mystics with degen. Innate Honorary Emissary of Hell. The next degeneration effect gains 35% potency and inflicts a 35% degeneration vulnerability passive for 4 seconds. Oof, that's not bad. Especially if you have some somebody with like a massive single degeneration. 33 Ebony Mojo additionally inflict a stagger. That's also not bad, especially these champions on do not have the strongest buff control by themselves. And obviously that stagger would then fuel your Mystic Dispersion. And ability, Vicious Judgment. When inflicting degeneration, vulnerability, or stagger, gain a non-stacking 10% Vicious passive for 14 seconds. Vicious passive increase the potency of your damage over time effect, like all of them, by the way. This effect also increases the potency of passive damaging effect. And then for these plus flat potency, also ample inequity. When inflicting a degeneration, vulnerability, or stagger, gain a non-stacking 10% amplify passive. I don't know what amplify passive exactly does. Does it make your buffs more potent? But I like that these trigger on staggers as well, which means you will probably be able to put them, well, on champions like Hood, potentially, maybe. I'm just not sure how potent that would be. What does the amplify passive do? Does anybody know? Is it like Gallon's buffs that increase potency of your like Furies and whatnot? Okay. Is it kind of like aptitude? I don't know. And then plus 10% direct damaging effect potency. Alright. Plus 20% stagger duration. Not bad. This will probably be quite useful. And plus 10% power gain potency. Also not bad. More special attacks. So, yes, relics are definitely slowly but surely evolving in between our own eyes. And when initial relics came out, quite honestly, their effects were relatively underwhelming on most of them, or at least half of them. And we primarily just use them as the strikers to extend our combos. But that is changing, for sure, because some of these relics will effectively be difference whether you can or cannot do specific matchups or fights and stuff like that. Like this one, for instance, whenever you get a bleed placed on you, you get, precisions that's significantly improving your damage output. This striker could potentially give you like a full-on bleed immunity on APOC before you get an actual bleed on again. Gives you access to healing. I like a lot of these things quite a bit. Let me know what do you guys think about these new relics specifically, but about the idea of making guides. What I was thinking is making them relatively brief, like 6 to 8 minute long videos, kind of going over their basic abilities and suggesting the best targets on individual level. And then if I have some gameplay for those relics that are ranked, that I do have ranked up, include a bit of gameplay to showcase the difference. And yeah, just make like a brief, short relic guides advising which champions are probably best equipped for them and how they function. And then kind of finish it off with an overall generalized spreadsheet with the champion recommendations for all of the relics. But that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys soon. Very soon, in fact. In less than 2 hours. Bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about